This time on episode 189 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to be breaking down Legion, Chapter 5. We're going to be talking about the weekly Marvel news and your feedback. Hi, I'm Stargate Pioneer.
And I'm Steven Jondrew, and we're from Better Podcasting, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network.
Just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of the individual host.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Lauren.
Welcome back to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel Comic Universe Fan Show. This show is recorded on Sunday, July 30th, 2017, from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide via www.geeks.live. Happy National Cheesecake Day, ladies!
Happy day.
Love
Yummy.
cheesecake.
Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Daredevil Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist on Netflix, Legion on FX, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the Marvel Comic Universe in general.
Because we had it wrong. We had it all wrong.
If you'd like to talk to us about how wrong we had it, you can find us at our website, legendsofshield.com.
You want to leave us a voicemail message about how wrong we understood Legion, you can call us at 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871.
If you want to talk to Lauren and me about how wrong SP is usually, you can visit our Facebook page, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
Conversely, if you want to talk to me and Haley about all of us, if you want to talk to all three of us about how right we are, you can find us on Twitter at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
If you want to leave us a comment about how right we will be in the future, you can talk to us or leave a comment on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 5 of Legion, and it aired on March 8th, 2017 on the FX channel, which I believe is only cable channel, and earned a 0.80 rating, which is 0.05 up from last time. By the way, Legion was renewed a week after this aired for a second season on March 15th, 2017. And I did check, by the way, ladies, this episode Eastern time did air at 10. I know there was some confusion in the past when we were talking about this between 11 and 10. This episodes and all these episodes aired at 10 Eastern, which is still late in the prime time, but it aired at 10 Eastern on FX. So, Haley, who was the director for this episode?
This episode was directed by Tim Mielants. He has 10 directing credits going back to 2005, and I haven't actually heard of any of this, but he did a couple of shorts, The Sunflyers and Desert Ski, and then a TV series called Super 8, but it doesn't actually have any specific episodes for that. And then he did 11 episodes of Code 37, 10 episodes of Zingaburia, 9 episodes of Corden, 2 episodes of Professor T, 2 episodes of The Tunnel, 6 episodes of Peaky Blinders, and this episode of Legion.
Peaky Blinders is good.
Okay.
I'll have to trust you because I haven't seen any of that either.
It's on Netflix. It's, it has like Cillian Murphy and a bunch of actors I'm forgetting right now. I think Tom Hardy's in it. Yeah, it's good.
All right. I'll have to check out the summary at very least. And Lauren, who wrote this particular episode, Chapter 5 of Legion?
It was written by Peter Calloway, who is a co-executive producer for Legion. And he's also worked on Brothers and Sisters, written 4 episodes of that, Hellcats, Under the Dome, and he wrote 2 episodes of this, Chapter 3 and Chapter 5.
Yeah, and I think it's warranted to point out that the runner, the lead of the GonnaGeek.com network is Steven, and one of his favorite shows forever will be Under the Dome. And this particular gentleman, Peter Calloway, was one of the producers of Under the Dome as well as writing some episodes. So there you go, Steven. That one was for you. So again, as we start all of the discussion about the particular episode, we start with the title. And this one, I'm a little perplexed about it. Chapter 5, what exactly does it mean, Haley?
I think it means this one's filing for bankruptcy.
Isn't that Chapter 7?
I think there's a Chapter 5 bankruptcy. I don't know.
It's Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, by the way, just to let you know.
No, I'm pretty sure there's a Chapter 11.
So it's something to do with bankruptcy, basically, is what you're saying.
What we're saying is do not use us as your tax lawyers.
Yeah, that would be a bad decision on your part.
Indeed. Well, we'll have to look that up for next time and see if that has any relevance to future episodes. In the meantime, we're going to talk about some specific things with this episode. First of all, Lauren, what's up with David's shirt?
Okay, so I've talked before about how David's shirt and the graphic on it always seems to have some significance. In this episode, it's a yellow triangle inside of a circle. It should be noted that the triangle is yellow, obviously, the demon with yellow eyes, and that it's inside something. It's sort of like the demon with yellow eyes is inside of him and in control. So, yes.
Not in control all the time. I mean, majorly in control, but there's sometimes where David has his own free will. Is that only when the devil with yellow eyes is sleeping?
Do possessing entities, parasites, whatever, need to sleep?
I don't know. I was using that metaphorically. But
I know, but now I'm thinking about it because it is a whole different entity. And typically, like, people need to sleep because otherwise you will die. There's actually, it's really, I mean, it's cool, but it's awful. There's a disease called familial insomnia where at about age 30, 35 or something, along certain family lines, people will just stop sleeping and then they die.
Wow.
Awesome.
I'm glad I don't have to look forward to that because I'm well over that age.
You also don't have a history of it in your family. You would know.
Oh, okay. That's definitely good to know that I would know about dying from lack of sleep. Okay.
Unless you're adopted and your parents never told you.
That's true. Could happen. It's
especially if your real parents died from familial insomnia and that's why you were put up for adoption.
It's like familial fatal insomnia, something like that.
Again, I'll have to look that up and get back to everybody next time.
Maybe that's why the demon with yellow eyes is so angry.
Because he can't sleep?
Yeah.
Well,
doesn't that lead to red eyes?
Oh, that's true. But yeah, but he's a mutant, so.
Well, we don't know that yet.
It's a show about mutants. I think it's pretty fair to assume.
Okay. We're just going to assume that then the devil with yellow eyes or the angry boy is a devil king as well, I suppose. So David's shirt is important, and thank you for keeping us updated on that. Haley, you wanted to talk about the romancing of the mind in the White Room.
So much hanky-panky in the brain room.
I thought it was very interesting, though, watching this the first time, that the bugs were coming over the strawberries when he was in the White Room, indicating that there was something afoot in David's mind that was corrupting everything.
Yeah, there's a parasite in his mind, and everything his mind creates is corrupted by that parasite.
Yeah, there's trouble in paradise, I guess, so to speak.
And we even see a meeting of the minds between, is it Lenny and David in the bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
that was an interesting conversation, enticing David to go ahead and go to D3. And this goes back to the choice thing. Do you think David had a choice with this, or was this going to happen all along?
Yeah, it was a choice, but this is the time where he embraced her completely and decided to let her have some power in his mind. And from that moment on, he had a lot less authority.
Yeah, if you think of it as he's been kind of fighting this influence this whole time, right here, because he's scared, he's desperate, he's accepting that influence, making a deal with the metaphorical devil. By metaphorical, I mean robot devil.
And what an influence it was. I believe it was termed a destructathon before the cast here.
I love this scene. I see this gift on like Tumblr all the time. My favorite part is when they're looking. Okay, well, first of all, when the team goes after him, they're like, "Oh no, he's going to die." They go after him, and they see people just kind of melted into the ground. I don't know if you're familiar with the urban legend about the Philadelphia experiment.
Yep.
Yeah. So for those of you who aren't, it's supposedly they tried to experiment with the U.S. Army tried to experiment with teleporting back in the day. And this battleship with a crew still on it, they tried teleporting it somewhere else. And it went horribly wrong, and people were melted into walls and stuff. And it was one of my favorite urban legends when I was a kid. And I was really upset that the movie Philadelphia was not about it. But so they come.
It was a myth, Lauren. It was a myth.
Yes, I know.
But that's just what they want you to think.
I first heard about it when I was like 8, okay? Anyway, so they come on the scene, and there's people just like melted into the ground, like the driveway, kind of like how we saw Lenny in the first episode with the wall. And then they go inside and they see the security camera, and there's David, and he's doing like dancing around, and there's that like thing where he's like snaps, and they just kind of poof into smoke, and they're dead. And I know it's horrible, but it looks really cool.
It did. It looked really cool. Like he was taking a picture, and then like it was almost Stargate-ish, by the way, with the Zat guns. Remember, you guys remember the Zat guns, where the first one you get knocked out, the second one you get killed, and the third one you disappear. So I kind of envision it that he was a Stargate fan, but the timing doesn't work out because they're in the past.
By the way, happy, what is it, 20th anniversary to Stargate?
Yes.
Indeed. And we could probably talk all about the Comic-Con announcement in a later portion of the show, which is exciting, but we'll get to that later. Basically, Stargate is going to live again, but it's going to be kind of a reboot. Series. Yeah, and kind of before everything started. So We'll see how that goes.
But yeah, that little, doesn't he look at the camera too right before he does that? It's like creepy, like, hey, look at this.
He does. And later on, when Melanie and whoever that was with them, I don't even know his name. He was like mutant. Yeah,
he was there in the first episode. You saw him as one of the mutants helping them escape. And that's the last time you saw him, I think.
Right. And he throws the door to get into D3 to begin with. He likes throwing stuff around, people too, that sort of thing. Anyway, they're watching the video and they see, and it must be like in some sort of infrared. It looks like infrared to us, but it could be another spectrum. I don't know. This is D3 technology we're talking about. And they see not David there, but the devil with yellow eyes.
That was so freaky. And yeah, I think it was like infrared or heat. I don't know. But, oh, that was so freaky. I loved it.
And that was at the point in time where Carrie back at Summerland were coming to the conclusion that there is something else inside of David's mind as well. So they all kind of discover it simultaneously in different places, which let's talk about that. Let's talk about the discovery there where you've got Carrie and Carrie, which are reabsorbing and working together. And then they figure this out. So Haley, what did you think about that?
It was really interesting to see. You start seeing more of kind of the mechanics of how their relationship works in this episode. Like he can heal her by absorbing her, but he has to be careful when he does that because there could be consequences for him as well. And then seeing him, it almost like looking like a crazy person in this episode when he's talking to her.
He did, and the first time around, I didn't really get it. I didn't get it at all. But this time around, I'm like, oh yeah, he's just talking to her. They're having a conversation, but you're only seeing one side of the conversation. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like listening to somebody in the library on a telephone.
Yeah, I love when she's first brought in and she's just like horribly injured, and he's the one who's like, okay, I'm going to absorb you. I'm going to fix this for you. And then when you see him lie down and you see all the bruises and stuff show up on him, and you realize, oh, yeah, because he's the one that takes care of all the physical stuff. And
the boring stuff,
the
like
boring
healing
stuff. Yeah, like healing. And when he's talking, he's like, oh, did you have to let them kick you in the crotch so many times? And yeah, just the relationship between them, it's complicated and it's interesting because she's so single-minded. Like, she's just like, you can almost think of her as kind of just single-minded aggression and pent-up energy, but there's also just that genuine bond between them. And then, yeah, she is kind of helping him talk them through it. They're bouncing the ideas off of he's bouncing ideas off of her, and she's just kind of shooting down the dumb ones.
Yeah, that relationship between the two was interesting because it also played out in the Sid relationship with David, and she was telling him about her first sexual encounter and the fact that she was just using her powers for curiosity, but it's not normal. And so she's asking, how do you teach somebody to be normal that's not normal? How does that work? And I think Carrie and Carrie have that sort of dynamic as well, where it's not normal, but it is for them. So
she's also remained very almost childlike because she has such a limited range of experiences. She doesn't know what it's like to go file her taxes or anything like that. All she gets to do is the fun stuff all her life.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that movie Click, right? Where Adam Sandler was able to fast forward through the dull parts of his life that he didn't want to experience anymore. It's kind of like something like that. But you're not missing anything. It's not
what I figured.
Yeah, it's not worth a watch, in my opinion. But I'm sure somebody will say I'm wrong about that.
It really is just that whole. She only does the fun stuff. So she's never had to kind of restrain herself and mellow out. And in the meantime, Carrie with a C has had to do all that stuff. So yeah, of course he's, the caretaker, the protector, even though she views herself as the protector because she's the one with the physical capabilities. Like, she's the one that fights. So it really shows the two types of protector that they both are. And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny because you look at them and he's in the role that's kind of the more feminine role, the emotional role. And she's the one that's traditionally the more masculine role, the aggressive fighter. But it really works for them. And I like that they kind of flipped that on its head.
And it continues to be a story plot for the remaining episodes as well. So we're not done with it yet. It's very intriguing to watch. Absolutely. So something that struck my fancy from the beginning was, I think this is the first time that David is experiencing the fact that he can talk through telepathy to Melanie. Is that right? Is this the first time, or did I miss that?
They sort of experimented, I think, with it in like the second episode where he is aware that he can hear her and stuff, but I don't think he's actually reached out and done it in reverse until now.
And he's all hyped up on his abilities right now. He thinks he can conquer the world, and he doesn't. At this point, I don't think he understands that there's a parasite within him as well. So he has not discovered that. I don't think until the end, right? The end of the episode where they're in the listening room, as Lenny put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's the whole, he thought he was sick. They tell him, no, you're not sick. So he's like, okay, fine. I must not be sick. And yeah, it's like Carrie with a C points out, this parasite caused his mind to fracture in self-defense. So yes, he is sick, and he is also a mutant. Good going, guys.
A very powerful mutant. So it's just a recipe for success right there, right? How'd you guys like the brief meeting between, it was Sid and Dr. Kissinger in D3? He was the doctor.
He locked in the cell still.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
yeah. What's even to say? Like,
well, she has this aggression towards him because he's basically kind of a captor. We talked about that before, where.
But at the same time, David's
inmates.
just gone through and killed everybody horribly.
Left him alone, though. That was interesting. But and then
Left him
Sid
locked
does
up.
not.
Left him as a captive.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and Sid did the same thing. Did not let him out. Kept him in there. Of course, it backfires on him late when they're in the Devil with Yellow Eyes version, Lenny's version of the White Room back at the hospital. But, they did keep him in there, and I can't remember if this is the last time we see him in the series or not. I think it is, and if it is, it's a fitting end to him, in my opinion. Although the backup was coming for D3 as the mutant team was leaving, so I can only assume he was rescued. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they thought he did it.
Maybe they didn't know he was there. They just leave him there, walled up, like Cask of Amontillado style.
Yeah, and he's not a mutant, so he wouldn't last very long. He needs food and water. And then at the end, at David's childhood home, David and Amy's childhood home in the woods, which I don't know if anybody else lived there at the time or not, but it was just very creepy because I can only assume it was Lenny that projected the Shroud of Silence around everything, which it was really creepy, especially at the start before there was any music that was being played.
Yeah, I forgot about that scene. So when I was watching this time, I was like, "Oh my god, did my speakers break?" So I turned up my speakers, and then all of a sudden, sound comes back, and it just like blared in my ears, and I was like, "Ah!" And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this."
And when
Turn the sound back down.
Yeah, and when sound did come back, it was that old Ophonic, record sort of muted sound that was coming through, and not full bred sound until they started to talk a little bit. But that whole thing was very creepy. Obviously, the Devil with Yellow Eyes or Lenny is squarely in charge until they're able to try to subdue it. And then the episode ends. I think this was one of the most cliffhanger-y endings between the episodes, with bullets coming at Sid, who's trying to shield David with the back of her body.
Yeah, and then everybody, if I remember correctly, everybody in Clockworks again.
That's what the name of it was. I forgot. Clockworks. It's been a while, folks. So, Haley, what did you think about Sid shielding David with her body?
It seems very true to their relationship so far. She does, in a lot of cases, try to protect him. It also sets up some tension going forward in the next few episodes about the situation they're left in when they go to Clockworks, with her physically shielding his body with hers and the bullets being very close to hitting her.
That's right. And I assumed that she was going to get it eventually. She was, at this point in time, watching it the first time through, I just assumed that she was going to die and that David was going to go ballistic. I just thought that was the way to go. We know what actually happens. I won't spoil it, but it was definitely something that made me want to watch the next episode right away, which in this series, just getting through an episode was hard enough, but this was the cliffhanger that I'm like, okay, I want to see the next episode, especially since we kind of know what's going on from the viewer's perspective a lot more than we did a couple of episodes ago. So I thought this was a good episode overall. I enjoyed the storylines. It got a little dark and murky in some places, but I thought this was a good episode of Legion. Haley, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. This episode also turns a lot of things on their head because you end back in Clockworks. So You're left kind of scratching your head and wondering where it's going to go from here and where everything that came before fits in with that.
Right, but nobody had the memory of what was going on in Clockworks. I mean, they were even in there with the eye, who screwed everything up, by the way. You knew for the second that you saw the eye at D3 that no good was going to come from that, and obviously that's what happened with flying.
With the episode ending back in Clockworks, you're left with the possibility of maybe that's where we've been this whole time. We know we have an unreliable narrator. Maybe this whole thing has just been in somebody's head.
I hadn't even thought of that, but yeah, you're right.
Exactly. I hadn't thought about that either. Nice poll, Haley. There you go. Coming out with the good ones.
So something we haven't even really talked about, was this the episode where they made the reveal about King?
No, that was last episode.
Okay.
The fact that King wasn't always there.
Okay. Because I really loved when Lenny's talking to the sister whose name I just blanked on. And Amy, yes. And she's, am I Lenny? Am I Benny? Then when she does the world's angriest boy thing, and it's creepy as hell. And then King, and you can hear Aubrey Plaza barking over the dog. That scene, it's so creepy, and I love it.
Really, Aubrey Plaza was the perfect person.
She's so good. And apparently the role was written for a man.
Yes. And she came in and took it.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it fits her character from Parks and Recreation perfectly, because she had a dark character there.
Have you heard the showrunners for that describe how she ended up on the show?
No.
She came and auditioned for, I think, Ann Perkins maybe, or something. Yeah. But she auditioned for a different role, and she was clearly not right for it. But one of the showrunners called the other one and was like, I just met the most uncomfortable person I've ever met in my life. We have to write a part for her.
Yeah, I think she did audition for Anne. I think that was right. And I think that might be why April hates Anne so much. Like, that would just be such a fantastic in-joke.
In retrospect, Aubrey Plaza really took this entire production to the next level. I don't know if anybody else could have done it as well as she did, but definitely with her, and flashing back to her as Lenny over and over again, confused the crap out of all of us, especially after she supposedly died in the wall at Clockworks, like at the end of episode 1 or 2 or whatever that was.
I remember watching that first episode and being like, oh, I didn't know Aubrey Plaza was supposed to be in this. That's unusual because I really like her and I probably would have heard about that. And then she died. I was like, oh, that's why she's only in one episode.
See, and I was like, how did you not know that? Because I was freaking out over Aubrey Plaza being in this because I love Aubrey Plaza. And then she died. I'm like, what now? But yeah, no, she's so good in this, and she's so unnerving. And she's like really unnervingly sexy in parts too.
Uh-huh. But then like creepy and disgusting at other times too.
Yeah, it's just such a good part. It's just she's so good.
I cannot at all imagine it with a man playing that role.
No, it definitely screws with David Moore having that particular part being played by a female, because you don't know if they're just buddies or if there's something inherent romantic that can occur between the two of them, as is depicted in this episode. So
I don't know if romantic's the word I would use to describe what happens in this episode.
No, yeah.
Well, true, but I mean, Lenny tried to play it off as David was hers from
it's possessive, not romantic.
Yes, that's it exactly. Yeah, just Aubrey Plaza is so good. Speaking of creepy,
I was going to say the creepy tongue in his mouth thing.
Oh God. Speaking of creepy, this episode also had the creepiest use of Rainbow Connection that I've ever heard.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I wrote that in the show notes. I can't remember. I can't believe I didn't remember to discuss it. It was really creepy because he's like playing exactly like Kermit the Frog played in the Muppet movie. I mean, the exact same strums. I don't know if they took that or not, or maybe they redid it. And then
that's how you play it.
I know, but it was the same tempo. It paused in the same spots and everything. And then he's singing in this creepy, just strained voice. Oh my gosh.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's sad. You're right. It's strained. It's scared. It's just this weird. And the thing is, this is the song, every time I hear it, I cry. I love that song so much. And then I saw this and I'm like, I am never going to look at this song the same way. This is so creepy. And it's such a good job. Dude did such a good job. Like, this whole cast is amazing.
Indeed, and the writers and showrunners and everything. I mean, for not knowing who the director was going into this and not knowing any of the past work or anything, Tim did a phenomenal job of throwing this one together, I think. It was pretty good. Lauren, have you said what you need to say about the episode?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Haley, do you happen to have any quotes?
I do happen to have a few quotes.
I'd like to hear these quotes.
Real, fake, it's all the same. Who teaches us to be normal when we're one of a kind?
There you go. That's the quote I was looking for.
Yep, I love that quote.
We were wrong. We had it all wrong.
You were so wrong. Yep.
I don't think it's a very good idea either, but we don't have any choice.
Of course you have a choice, but usually not.
Okay, let's talk.
That was probably the smartest bit of dialogue she get. If you remember the first time she was in Clockwork, she deflected all the time. And this was a great opportunity for her to deflect again. So she goes back to her natural character. She doesn't talk. She just says, let's start talking, and kind of deflects to everybody else around the room. So that was a smart move on Sid's part.
No. That was Lenny, as the psychiatrist, that said that.
Oh, I thought that was Sid saying, let's talk.
Remember.
Need to watch it again. But yeah, that sets up the next episode, which is going to be fun. We're planning on talking about that next week. Legion Chapter 6 next week. And if you have anything to say about any of the past 5 episodes or Legion Chapter 6, go ahead and get that into us in all the ways to contact us. And don't forget, you can always email me a bit of audio at stargatepioneer@gonnageek.com. Talking about gonnageek.com, we are part of the wonderful network of Gonna Geek. And on that network, we have a phenomenal 20-some-odd shows, about 25 shows now, one of which is Tyrion's Landing. And in the latest episode of Tyrion's Landing, number 121 on Stormborn, Nikki's back. So join the OG Tyrion's Landing crew as they talk season 7, episode 2, Stormborn. Ladies, have you continued to watch the Game of Thrones?
Yep.
I've heard the first episode was amazing. Matter of fact, my son made me watch the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of season 7, episode 1, which it was good. I'll admit it was good. I'm glad I watched those 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be on this past episode of Tyrion's Landing, but I forgot. So I was busy when they got a hold of me. Sorry, guys.
Well, would you like to be on another episode of Tyrion's Landing if they can forgive you?
I would. I love them.
Okay. So, Jeannie, you've heard it here first.
I'm
Lauren
sorry.
wants to be back. Haley, you've also been on Tyrion's Landing, haven't you?
No, I have not. I've never been on Tyrion's Landing.
Would you want to be on Tyrion's Landing?
Sure.
Okay, there you go. The gauntlet's laid down, Jeannie. These two ladies would love to join you. And with that, we're going to move on to some news.
As many of you know, it was recently a Geek High holiday. San Diego Comic-Con just happened. And at San Diego Comic-Con, we got a new Inhumans trailer.
Did y'all see it?
I did, but I don't remember which one was the new one.
The new one was the one where you actually see Medusa's hair move and you see more of Lockjaw. I mean, it still looks kind of like garbage.
Yeah.
But
I still have mixed emotions. First of all, the showrunner, Scott Buck's also the one that did Iron Fist, as we talked about on this podcast before. And it's the Inhumans, which I have no love for. anymore, especially after reading the comics. And you can hear all about that over at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Longbox Edition as we run down the Inhumans versus X-Men series that Lauren is reading right now. And it is, I don't know, guys. I'm not excited for this, and I should be. So
yeah, I'm kind of worried it's just going to be its own thing and not really tie into anything else we've seen so far in the Marvel Cinematic Television universe, and that it's going to be not very good.
I'm just, it looks so bad. Although I will say that one of the better things that I heard coming out of Comic-Con was Ewan Ryan going to some after party, Ewan Ryan playing Maximus in this, and getting drunk and excitingly talking about feminism with a bunch of Black Panther cosplayers. Like, I think they were actual professional, like, there for an event, Dora Milaje cosplayers. So that was kind of amazing.
Lauren, have you been reading the Champions series at all?
No, I need to.
So you talked about feminism and issue 3 of the Champions, and this is the new run that's going on right now in the Marvel Comics. It's interesting. So if you want to just take a look at that, and we'll talk about it at another time. It's an interesting take on not necessarily feminism, but female rights worldwide. So they touched on a big social issue in the comics that I'm not sure they gave enough credence to, but they did it in a nice way. So I don't know. You can check out Adam's thoughts on that also on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Longbox Edition.
All right. Well, we talked about how Scott Buck was the showrunner for season 1 of Iron Fist. He's apparently not going to be the showrunner for season 2 of Iron Fist.
Yes! Oh, I'm sorry.
But instead we have Raven Metzner, who is, I think, let's see, he is listed as co-creator for Iron Fist. And on his IMDb page, screenplay for Deathlock announced. It's the first I'm hearing of it.
Is that a movie or a TV pilot or?
I'm looking.
I think we talked about it over on Sterling Tribune about a month ago. I think it is there was rumors that it was supposed to be a film, but we didn't know a lot about it, and we didn't think that the same actor was going to play it.
Yeah. That's literally all it says. It just has a creative team. It doesn't have anybody else involved. But yeah, he's also worked on Sleepy Hollow, which the first season was good. He was not involved in the first season. He wrote Elektra, the 2005 version.
Which I enjoyed. I mean, I know there's great debate on this, but I didn't know anything about the comic character at the time. And just as a movie, I enjoyed it. Same as...
I always describe it as, it's not that bad.
He worked on
of Elektra.
Yeah, he worked on Heroes Reborn, which I couldn't, you guys. I couldn't.
I didn't try.
I tried because I really loved the first season of Heroes, and I watched it way past what's advisable.
Yeah, it keeps on coming up in different conversations. That happened during the writer's strike. Not season 1, but Heroes.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Season 2 was truncated because of the writer's strike.
Well, I think if Heroes is ever redone, I think it would be done well, and I'd be interested in watching it. Like a complete reboot.
It was a product of its time, and I don't think you could do it again now, really.
I think it would be one of those shows, if it had been canceled after season 1, everyone would look back and be like, oh, that show was so great. I can't believe it got canceled. I wish they'd had a season 2. And we're in the darker timeline where it got a season 2 and it was terrible.
Yeah, and then a season 3 and it was worse, and a season 4 and not even Ray Park could save it.
Okay, maybe a darker time for Heroes, but ladies, this is 2017. We've had 4 comic book movies this year, and they've all been winners.
Yeah, but Donald Trump is also president.
We've had 4 comic book movies, and they've all been winners. Let's focus on the positive here, Lauren.
Okay. But yeah, Raven Metzner, I'm still not optimistic.
All right, we'll see how early looks come out from that.
So getting into some movie news, we are all very excited about Captain Marvel joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but apparently she's not going to be in Infinity Wars.
This makes me upset. I'm very upset about this.
I know. I tweeted. I was in the middle of other important things in my life. I saw this. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Ah, that's not good. Not good at all. I can't believe they did this.
Why?
Do you think they went into it? And this is just speculation on my part. I have no basis whatsoever. But do you think they went into it as the Wonder Woman in Batman versus Superman feel and just said, "Nah, we don't want to follow that. We want to hit her out with her introductory movie. We don't want to embed her in another movie first"? Do you think that entered into their mind?
I don't know. I don't know what their thought process is.
See, this is the problem with giving away her date to Spider-Man, is she didn't get to be introduced before Infinity War came out.
Yeah, I've been defending the choice to have her movie set in the 90s because it's focusing on her, and Peggy Carter could still be around, and we could see how Nick Fury becomes director, and we could have a cool 90s soundtrack. But then, and I was like, okay, and then maybe she's up in space. We find out why she's up in space doing stuff for Infinity Wars, and she could be the link between this, like the space stuff in Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy and Earth. And then this comes out that she's not going to be in it. And I'm like, okay, well then why?
Especially when the comics just had that huge debacle, by the way, of the Civil War II thing. And it was Captain Marvel versus Iron Man during the entire thing. And then to not have her in something like Infinity Wars, which is squarely in both of their wheelhouses. What up, Marvel?
I am very mad at Marvel Comics lately. I'm still a fan of the MCU, but it's getting kind of hard to be a Marvel Comics fan right now. At least my lovely independent comics will still be there for me.
Mm-hmm. I just picked up Stargate Universe a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Is it good?
It's good. All the new titles that I pick up because I really want to pick them up are independent titles across the board, no matter what. Matter of fact, I just picked up I wasn't going to, but I went ahead and I picked up the new Envision Robotech comic as well. The cover was just whatever. And I know those are two TV appearances that have titles that have made its way into comics, but there's so much more in comics right now on the independent side. Horizon, I'll have to talk about them in a future episode, but there's a lot of good independent comics out there. So, and the only really way to really gauge them is to go to a comic book store yourself and just see them on the shelves and page through them a little bit and say, okay, I like that title.
Yeah. Find them through a friend. I found a lot of stuff back in the live journal days through Scans Daily. These days I find stuff through Tumblr or friend recommendations or I follow a lot of writers and artists on Twitter, and they cross promote other artists and writers that they like. So I highly recommend doing stuff like that and following. It doesn't really help to be loyal to a brand. It helps to be loyal to yourself. You know, what are two most popular titles that are discussed these days? Saga and Invincible. And those are independent, quote unquote independent. They're not part of the two Marvel DC powerhouses. So Saga is so good, you guys. Saga, Wicked and Divine. The Poe Dameron comic that's coming out right now it's Marvel, but it's not one of the big event stuff. But the Poe Dameron comic is a lot of fun.
There have been a lot of good Star Wars titles.
Yeah,
like
the Dr. Aphra comic is fantastic. Yeah. There's some really good mainstream comics out there. As I talk about Star Wars.
I just started reading Bitch Planet.
Ah, yes, I love that one.
How many issues are you in? Or
I think I only read the first one so far. It was in some downtime between some panels or something. I've had them downloaded for a while. I just haven't had time to read them.
Yeah, so I did. It's fantastic. Pretty Deadly.
The new Korra comic just started this week. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk about our favorite comic book segment in the future.
But more MCU news. Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out soon, and Michelle Pfeiffer and Lawrence Fishburne are going to be in that movie.
Yes, and you know who their cast does?
Who?
Pfeiffer is going to be playing Janet Van Dyne,
Perfect.
the original Wasp, and Lawrence Fishburne has been cast as Bill Foster. Bill Foster was also Giant Man for a while in the comics. And to fans these days, he's probably most notorious for being the big like kickoff death in the original Civil War. But yeah, he's a scientist. He was, you know, one of like the big heroes for a while in 80s, 90s. But yeah, I heard about that. I'm so happy. And I love both of these actors. So yes.
I was a little disappointed when the recent Ant-Man run ended because it wasn't the best comic around, but it was one of the fun reads that I had all the time. Of course, Wasp is now part of the daily or monthly Marvel production. So that is really good to go check out as well. So I'm looking forward to the Wasp movie coming out. It's going to be fun.
Moving out of the MCU and into Fox's Marvel franchise, Channing Tatum says Gambit is still happening and it's getting a rethink.
Yeah, not like, oh, we're rethinking doing this movie, but more rethinking of tone after Deadpool and Logan. So.
Oh, really? So they want to go more
a little bit more adult with it, I think. Like,
hasn't this movie been in the works since Origins Wolverine?
Pretty much, yeah.
So oddly enough, I was watching White House Down it was on FX or something like that, and I was looking at Channing Tatum and I was going, oh, it would have been nice to see him as Gambit. Really would. In a good production. And that was before I knew that it was getting a rethink. And now I don't know. Fox's mutant movies have been hit or miss. We haven't gotten a strong everyone that's come out is a winner. I mean, Apocalypse, I don't know about that.
Yeah, there was good stuff in Apocalypse, but there was some really mediocre to bad stuff in Apocalypse too.
So we'll see.
Yep.
Looking forward to what this envisionment really is, or rethinking is, whatever you call it.
And our last little bit of news, swinging back to TV, is that there's a new Runaways spot.
Yeah, so this TV spot, it's very brief, and it's linked. So it has like Spanish or Portuguese subtitles. I got really excited and I forgot which. But what they showed has me so excited because it's so true to the comics right now. And it's such a good look at, I'm so excited. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing thing or a mini series or what, but Runaways is one of my favorite comics. The first Gen Con I ever went to, I cosplayed as Gert Yorks. And I love this comic so much.
Well, look forward to that as well. And with that is it for the news for the week. We're going to move on to some feedback.
We got some stuff from Twitter. We got a lot of stuff from Twitter, but we'd be here all day if we read it. So we start off with Adana Girl, who said, AKA friends from work, and then sent us a tweet from Mark Ruffalo that says, some of my favorite coworkers, #Thor Ragnarok. It's a picture from Comic-Con, and it's a bunch of the cast of Thor Ragnarok, and then Taika Waititi, and it's an adorable picture. Kate Blanchett and Chris Hemsworth are holding hands and looking at each other. Taika Waititi's like hanging over Mark Ruffalo's shoulder, and Jeff Goldblum's kind of looking off to the side at someone else. Tom Hiddleston's sort of off on his own, doing his own thing.
Those are interesting pants that Kate has on.
I dig them.
I don't think I've seen that style before. I like it.
Cate Blanchett just, I'm so looking forward to her in this. I'm looking forward, this movie just looks fun. Like, I saw the newest trailer when they played it at Comic-Con. I watched the panel on YouTube. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited, you guys.
Well, it is the next, I thought it was the next, it is the next comic book movie that comes out because Justice League comes out the very next weekend, right? Yeah, I think that's how it goes. So November is going to be exciting with comic. We talked about 4 good comic book movies this year. Well, we got 2 more coming up in November. So looking forward to those.
I really hope Justice League doesn't suck. I'm coming off that high of Wonder Woman, and I just don't want another Batman versus Superman, you guys.
Well, Joss Whedon took over, and apparently they've been doing some pretty epic reshoots. So
I did like I saw Dunkirk, and I saw the latest trailer that they're showing in the movie theaters, and I did like the one where Wonder Woman flies in between Aquaman and I can't remember who it was, but she flies in to land in front of him, and she's like, okay, let's do this. So I was like, oh, cool. That is the most exciting part of the trailer that I remember seeing.
I will say that the cast is adorable when they showed up at Comic-Con. And Ezra Miller, I hate his Flash costume, but he showed up cosplaying as Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist. And I'm like, I can't hate you. You're awesome. And then, of course, Gal Gadot just being like beautiful and wonderful to everyone.
She's winning over the hearts and minds. Wonder Woman
She's amazing. I love her. Fast and Furious was on the other day, and I had a migraine, but like I had to stay up and watch it just to see her, and I was like, okay, now I can sleep. Gal Gadot, leather jacket, okay. But we also have from Andy Migna, did you already see this? And it is the official trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Blu-ray. And it's awesome, you guys. It's done in one of the styles of those like 80s infomercials for, you remember the mixtapes that they would sell that had like, you know, featuring so-and-so, and it's shot on like that sort of stock footage, and you guys just watch it. Just watch it. It's good. It's good.
Yep.
It's on YouTube.
Anything Guardians is good. Yeah. That cast knows how to play.
And at Mr. Paraclete said, more Peggy! Yes! And what he's referring to is Peggy Carter to make an appearance in Avengers Infinity War.
You think they'll tie up that loose end, by the way? The Peggy Carter series?
Yeah, because the special montage that Marvel put together for their Comic-Con panel, when the video focuses on the Time Stone, there's a voiceover that says, time can fix anything. And we have a shot of Steve Rogers talking to old Peggy Carter before she morphs back into her younger self. So, what can we take from that? I'm hoping this means that we get resurrected Peggy Carter or something. I don't know. I'm just a fan of anything Peggy Carter. Which I forgot to add it to the news, but apparently Besame brand makeup is going to have a Peggy Carter inspired, like an Agent Carter inspired line of makeup coming out this fall, and I totally need it. That's the brand, by the way, that put out the lipstick that Peggy used in Agent Carter. So
I just hope this doesn't lead to some sort of awkward love triangle between Steve Rogers, Peggy, and her niece. I mean, that would be awkward. Awkward. It's good to see Steve in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes, that was amazing.
All right, well, that's it for the feedback this week. We're going to start. I don't know. What do you ladies want to do? You want to walk? You want to skip? You want to hop? How do you want to get this one out?
Let's roll.
Moonwalk.
Moonwalk, that's better.
Moonwalk this one out. In the future, in the very near future, Gonna Geek is going to have a panel a couple of panels, actually, at Gen Con on the 19th of August, 10 a.m. in Crown Plaza at the Pennsylvania Station C. The first panel is going to be, what is a podcast? A miserable pile of secrets. And the description is, podcasts are hot these days, but what exactly is a podcast? How do you listen? And how can you start podcasting yourself? Members of the Gonna Geek Podcast Network explain how to get on the game. Followed by at 11 a.m., the very same place in the Crown Plaza, Pennsylvania Station C, is a panel entitled The Purposeful Podcasting with the Gonna Geek Network. What are you trying to do with your podcast, and how can you do it best? Gonna Geek Podcast Network veterans share their secrets, best practices, interesting trends, and a Q&A for casual and pro podcasters. So come on out, join Cody and John from Game Life Balance US, and Michelle and I from Starling Tribune, and me from many other podcasts, as well, as we go through both those panels on the 19th of August. Now, Lauren, you are very excited. Yeah,
I'm so jealous that I wanted to go to Gen Con so bad this year because it's the 50th Gen Con and I have a blast every time I go to Gen Con, but it wasn't in the budget and I'm so upset and I'm so disappointed, and you guys have a great time. But yeah, speaking of cons and cons that I can afford to go to, there's one a little bit closer to home for me. It's called Fandemic Tour, and it's here in Houston. It is September 15th through the 17th at the NRG Center in Houston here. And so far, the guests include people such as Sebastian Stan, Bucky Barnes, Sean Gunn, Bruce Campbell. Let's see who else. There's a bunch of other people who are not in Marvel but are still awesome. Dean Cain, Steve Young, Norman Reedus, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Michael Rooker, again, Marvel.
Children Rooker. Children.
Julie Benz, who might be of some interest to our Defiance buddies. And then a bunch of artists and writers, including Neil Adams, Renee Wittenstater, and more to come. So I'm very excited about this.
I saw Neil Adams at Indiana Comic Con a few months ago in April. It was good to see him just having fun at a con.
Yeah, a bunch of Houston podcasters are going to be covering the show. Hopefully we get to be some of them, bring you some stuff from here, and expect to hear more about this in upcoming weeks. But yes, if you are in the Texas area or can travel to the Texas area, check out Fandemic Tour, again, September 15th through 17th at the NRG Center in Houston.
And Haley, you are very busy in the future, but you just got back from San Diego Comic-Con. So any last words about San Diego Comic-Con?
It was really awesome. If you can attend panels that have live rock performances to kick them off, you should. And I would definitely do it again.
Wow. Okay. Because I will not. I will not do San Diego Comic-Con again. Just, I guess I'm too old for it or something. It's just, maybe it's the tickets. I think it's the ticket, getting tickets. You had the 4-day passes, right?
I had 4-day pass plus preview night.
Yeah, that's the full Monty. If you can get that, that is what to get if you're going to go, because you're not going to see everything anyway, so you might as well experience as much as you can.
Yep. I had a good time. I didn't stress out about getting into like Hall H or Ballroom 20 or something every day, though. And that helps a lot, because I was like, well, you know, I could see these panels when I get home if I miss something. So I'm not going to worry too much about it.
And that's good that people have been doing that, too. Did you spend any time in the Gaslight District?
Yeah, we wandered around a little bit, mostly to get to bars so we could start drinking.
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that is, if you have any more questions about San Diego Comic-Con with Haley, she'll be glad to answer them next time.
Yep.
Well, until next time, I just want to say thank you very much, everybody, for downloading and watching and listening to the podcast. We really appreciate everybody. I know July's been kind of a slow month of getting podcasts out, even though we're supposed to be producing twice a week. Had some personal issues come up with a few of us, so we had to slow down for a little bit. But we'll get back on the horse and strong into the fall TV schedule.
Thank you for everybody who has sent us tweets over the past several weeks. It made us feel like we weren't forgotten about because, yeah, like we said, we've had some issues the past couple weeks, but we're back now, and we love hearing from you. We love seeing your opinions on things. We love seeing the stuff that you send us, and keep sending it our way. We really, really appreciate it, and we appreciate you.
Yes, thank you to everyone that's bearing with us through our strange release schedule this summer. We should be getting back to normal here soon, so make sure you're sending us your feedback about what you think about Legion and Iron Fist. And we've got the Defenders coming soon, so let us know what you think about that.
Yep, absolutely. It's been a great show, ladies. Thank you very much for joining me on this Sunday. Until next time, I'm Director, Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Lauren.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com, where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2017.